Hello and welcome to Antimatter Garage. Just before I get started on what should be a very short tachometer video, I just wanted to mention a couple of things. So first of all, when I started this channel, the idea was that this was going to be about custom modifications to my cars and an upcoming project where I actually build a car from the ground up. And life kind of got in the way. For instance, this video was supposed to be number 8, not number 29. And what happened is I own 3 old cars and I just keep driving them and driving them, me and my wife both. And when you make a choice to drive old cars and not sell them and not spend money on new cars and stuff, you wind up getting yourself into a pretty long, drawn-out lifetime of auto repairs. And so what happened was before the last gauge video, which people aren't really watching anyway, to this gauge video, all of my cars broke at one time. And so I wound up literally walking or riding a bicycle, and I wound up buying another car sort of temporarily. And I fixed those all up, and some of those videos got some traction because apparently repair videos do better than these sort of modification videos and stuff, which is fine. And I sold that car, cleaned it up and sold it on, and I can now name probably half a dozen things that are wrong again on both of the other 2 old cars. The reason I mention this is because that's what happens is you get these delays, and this is what happens when you have a project car that you're working on and doesn't seem to be making any progress, and I think it's what makes people give up on their project cars. And I admit that I was reluctant sometimes to go out and work on it because it just felt like it was dragging on, and I started thinking of other projects, and I keep having to like slap myself and say, no, you can't build another project until you finish the one you're on, right? So I'm never going to give up because I love this car and I do want to drive it, and I've been working pretty hard on it, but between going to work every day and all these other car repairs and house repairs and just life getting in the way, it's dragged on for, I hate to say this, but over a decade now. So it's really time. But that's what happened between the last gauge video and this gauge video. So now I'm going to do this tachometer, and then there'll be one more on how I tie all that stuff together, and I'll probably put that together in a playlist for those who are interested or may become interested in the future. So that's kind of what's going on, and I'm just going to show you the project car real quick and how it looks a lot like a project car. There it is. It's the coolest Corolla ever to be made. It's GTS model with pop-up front headlights, but like a lot of project cars, it's become a storage area, which is just wrong in many senses of the word, and I feel pretty guilty about that, to be honest. But one of the problems with doing projects like this in your garage is that you don't have any extra room, and so the parts for the car have to go in the car. This car is full of parts inside, in the trunk, and a few things stored on top that I will be getting rid of soon. I've already cleared off the top here a little bit because I'm working on that. So yeah, it's just a wonderful car. It's been a wonderful car for many, many years. I drove it as a primary driver for probably almost 20 years, so 18 years I guess, before starting this project. So yeah, that's it. I just wanted a little explanation real quick. Here's the back of the tachometer, all ready for the back panel to go on, but because these wound up being in a line, this hole is not going to work. So I'm going to take a Dremel and make a little slot, hopefully equal to where these come out, and then I'll slide this on. So I was putting together the tachometer, and I needed to drill a hole through here, and it just grabbed the drill bit and shoved it straight through my nice plate. So I said, okay, not the end of the world. I always buy 2 of everything. I always buy spares. So I went in there and I found spares for everything but this. This and the speedometer. So everything comes to a screeching halt. Now so I can go online and try and find a place that can make these for me and send them back, because I had these made over in Orlando, and it's a drive, and it's COVID, and whatever. It's just, this is just I was going to have this done today. Now I don't know how long it's going to be. Holidays are coming up. Just very disappointing. Alright, so here is the tachometer. This is the last gauge I have to do, unless I change my mind about using a boost gauge, because I intended to, but now I'm not sure I want to. I mean, it's only like 4 pounds of boost, 4 or 5 pounds of boost anyway, so it's not like some super high performance thing. But what I had to do was drill these holes into this ring. I had to get them really, really precise so that they would line up, and it took me a long time, but I finally just was really careful. I did it by hand, which is very unusual for me. I use this as a template because this was machine done, and I got it in, and all of these number 4 screws go in perfectly, so I'm super happy with that. All I have to do now is connectorize all of those wires, and the tachometer will be done, and I can move on to the next thing in the Corolla. So there's pretty much the finished product, but before I put it in, I wanted to show you what it looked like lit up. From there you can probably see a dot with LED is, but mostly you look down on it kind of like that, so I don't think it's a big deal. I think it looks good. I think it looks, you know, kind of custom. If I can get the blue going, there you go. So yeah, that's it. Very short. I think I talked more than I actually showed on the construction. The one thing I did want to mention, however, was that obviously a lot more than that went into making my own personal tachometer, my own custom tachometer, but really anybody could do this, because the basics were that I had a donor card that I used for the Corolla. I bought a Toyota Solara and I pulled the engine out, and in this case I wanted it to be completely Solara, so I took all of the wiring out of the Solara and I put it into the Corolla so that all of the systems from the Solara could plug and play. So that's all I really kind of did with the tachometer too. I just disassembled the Solara instrument cluster and I pulled out the tachometer section, and then I looked at the schematic and saw any things that were on the periphery, like diodes or things that led into it, and I included all those things, put them into a housing of my own making, and voila, Toyota or custom tachometer. So you can do this with really any car, I think, as long as you include enough pieces. You just put it in a different housing is really all I've done. So anyway, I think it looks pretty cool, and I'm hoping the final product will look really cool too. So stay tuned for more episodes on the Corolla and how it's coming along, and maybe one day I'll start it up, drive it, and you guys can all celebrate with me. Thank you for watching.